Cool.
And once again, we have our special friends from Belgium here. The whole NMP PCH HayaBusa lineup. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Hello, hello, hello. Well, first question. I have to tell you first, it's a Hayabusa day, a complete Hayabusa day, because I have already talked earlier and recorded Mr. Luc Verstrepen, who is David's predecessor in the inside center slot, right?
Correct.
And Gary Smith, who worked with you to make Jerwang, Ben, Bob, and David and Dennis the world champions in 2014, right?
Yes.
So it's a Hayabusa day, and I can tell you they had only good things to say about you. That's you can be secure of that.
That's nice. Otherwise, they can expect a telephone call.
Yeah. You will hear it in the coming days, I guess. Anyway, so it was really funny. Well, so thank you. It's coincidence really that we happened to talk. They were in Spain at right now with the Lions and the Cheetahs. So where are you?
We're in Brazil at the moment.
Brazil, Spain, China, Belgium. We are the geography of NSL talk and the stories is pretty interesting. What are you doing in Brazil?
Well, we're here on a like an exchange project with the Brazilian military. So since we are military as well, we can we have the chance to jump with other nations, let's say, on their military training camps. So yeah, we're jumping alongside the Brazilian military and continuing our training and preparation.
So is that which military? Because I know the Netunos were just in China, but they are Navy, right? So
This is
you're
the army. The
it's the
army, and
army,
this is the Cometos. The comets.
Cometa. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And they will also be at the CISM. So both of the teams are training for the upcoming CISM, the World Championship in Hungary, in the beginning of July. And yeah, how it actually went is last year there was a new CISM president, and he is a Brazilian guy, a Brazilian skydiver. And he came to Spa when we were training there. Never met him before, and we got introduced. And then eventually, you know what? Let's have a jump together. And he was so overwhelmed jumping with us, so that he actually invited us to come over to Brazil. And here we are. And by coincidence, we're seeing him tomorrow. So tomorrow and Monday, he will join us at the camp, and then we see him again since last year. So really looking forward to it. I have to tell, I think the whole team can confirm that they've been treating us very nice. We did a very good first week, and this hot temperatures, and we're looking forward to restart our second week tomorrow. So we'll do 5 more days of training and then fly home to Belgium, and then come to Florida next month.
So now we are at the first topic already, which is the CISM topic. If I'm counting correctly, I think I can still do that even after some happy hour times with Charlie Cannon, our Skydive the Land pilot of decades. That I see 1, 2, 3. I see 4 Hayabusa members there. That is without the camera. Hi Neil, hi Ray.
Hi, Ray.
And
we count 5 curves. I don't know. Maybe we can
say that again. That was breaking up. Sorry.
3 black and 2 gray. Then 3 plus 2 still equals 5.
Yeah.
If my math is still up to date.
But you're correct. You're correct. We are now in the room. We're with 5 people, 5 persons, and Koen, actually the camera guy for this upcoming CISM, he's in the room next door. He didn't want to come to the NSL talk. But actually, this is well, there wasn't enough space in the room. That's why. But this is the half of the the lineup for the SISM. It's Dennis, Neil, Bob, and myself for the SISM. And then in the meanwhile, we're also training for the World Championship in North Carolina. And then it's going to be Bob, Ray, Neil, and Dennis. So to make everything more confusing, yeah, that's the situation. So no, I mean, the way how it goes is the good thing is with the SISM, yes, for us, where we are now, right now is we're in a learning phase again, especially now with Ray, and we're teaching all the tricks and giving him as much information as we can. And in the meanwhile, we also need to make sure that we keep maintaining our standing in at least one of the major competitions, and that's or the SISM or the World Championship. So we're kind of focusing at the moment in short term for the SISM, trying to have a good standing right there. And so we're also dividing a little bit the training time accordingly. So luckily the SISM only has 8 blocks, sorry. So 8 blocks. So I'll do 8 jumps per day, and the remaining 4 or 2 or 3 but mostly 4 is training with Ray. So me and Ray were kind of splitting the day.
So the SISM is coming up first, and you want to win the SISM World Championship title again. You have won it like approximately 20 times consecutively in the past. I cannot imagine that you don't want to win, the next upcoming one. So the training is serious with you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, from the moment that when I joined the army up until this season, I cannot imagine not going to the SISM and be underprepared. So, I mean, no, I cannot go into July and not doing enough jumps to be prepared, especially for myself. I cannot, I mean, in my mind and in my head, that's impossible. So, yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, so we kind of have like to divide a little bit the training time. And I think at the moment where we are, yeah, it's looking okay, but so I cannot say much.
So when the civilian, I mean, not the civilian, whatever, the FAI lineup is training, you are basically you're off too, because Kuhn is filming both lineups, whether it's this or that. Okay,
that's true. That's exactly, yeah. So to give him the sufficient amount of training for his camera view, camera work, he was just doing the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing on the ground, giving water, training, running, yeah, just to make sure that the team is training.
Getting a day off. But then who's going to film the team in North Carolina for the World Championship?
Excuse me?
Who? Okay, David. No, I was asking who's filming the team in North Carolina.
Yeah, so I mean, my short-term plan for myself and also for the team is I'll just work up until the 13th of July when the SISM is done. Then my career as a formation skydiver should be finished. But
yeah, that's what you say now. Yeah,
I've been telling that now for years, and look where I am. And I've listened to Nicholas his words, and
I don't buy it.
Listening to Nicholas as well, and I don't buy that neither. So I was listening to him. I said, "Yeah, right." But it's the situation. So normally the 13th of July, I would say, like, you know what, now finished.
I just talked to I don't know if you followed this NSL Live Talk with Nicholas recently, but he also he is done. There was his last indoor competition. And he is done with the airspeed, with outdoor, the whole airspeed by the end of the year. But then he said, well, he's probably going to do some kind of an indoor lineup, or you heard that, I guess.
Like
right?
high ropes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, talking about being done, right? Yeah. Mr. David Rhodes. We shall see.
Absolutely.
So let's continue. Let's finish up the SISM topic. With the Qatar Tigers, they are probably smelling, something possibly coming, that there is maybe a chance to beat you for once at the CISM championship or afterwards at the outdoor championship. And you were watching them, I have no doubt, in Macau. You know, you studied the videos. I'm sure by now you've studied all the videos, the Chinese women, Arizona Airspeed, the Qatar Tigers, the French team. I'm sure you know more about those videos already than I do. So what is, are the Qatar Tigers becoming dangerous going into the CISM championship? What do you think?
Well, I think one of the previous NSL talks you had with Airspeed, I think it was Chris or Joey who mentioned this, like we are actually only competing against ourselves. It's not like soccer or basketball that we really go up against another team. We can only affect our own performance. So yes, for sure, we looked at all the videos, but the one video that we really are focusing on is the video of our own jump. To have a good debrief and make sure that in the amount of jumps we have for the CISM, that we can be as good as we can with the CISM lineup. And eventually we will see where that will put us, hopefully somewhere on the podium, but if it's going to be 1, 2, or 3, yeah, that the future will show. For me, it's a lot of new stuff. We did some tunnel with the indoor nationals where I was point, but now with the outdoor, it's quite different. I'm enjoying it, something else, but you just need some reps. You need some jumps to see the pictures, to see the transitions. Also, Dennis is still getting better and better in the outside center slot. And we have Neil also getting better and better at his B slot, so he's flying on tail. So eventually, yeah, we look at the opposition, we look at Qatar, but we cannot change what they do. So we can only change our own.
So you specifically, Bob, you are going back and forth between point and tail.
Yeah, the last day we had some slot switchers, so I went through all 4 of the slots in one day. It's just turning the switch once we brief with Ray, like, okay, I'm on this position again, or we're doing CISM, I'm flying with Dennis. So, but overall, once the switch is made and once you brief and you're in the plane, yeah, for sure you need more visualization than you're used to, but it's fun. It's keeping it fresh and it keeps you sharp.
Yeah, I mean, it must be great fun. You know, I love it. I love to switch slots. You learn so much about what the other guys are doing. You know, it makes you be a better piece partner in front piece, rear piece, no matter where you are. You know, it's a benefit actually. Many people are shy of going from one slot to another one, or I just had an experience with that. And it's difficult to encourage people to do it because you learn so much. It's so good for you, in fact. But then on the other hand, the longer you are in one slot, you know, the better you are with it. That is true too, right? I mean, you can probably, Dennis has been point for 24 years, 23 years, is that right?
That's maybe a bit too long, Kurt.
2010, well, you came in as a point.
14 years.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 14. I took it. Yeah, so that's.
He looks like he's 24, but he's not 24.
No, I mean, I meant I put another decade to it. I was remembering 2010, but that's only 14 years ago. So, okay, so 14 years as a point is still a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And David had his own much longer time in the inside center slot, right? You switched once, so from inside, outside to inside.
I came from outside, so I did first the front piece in my early years, but I also did that for 12 years, I think. And then I switched, not with HayaBusa, and then after, when Joey became the coach, then he switched me to the inside center slot, and I'm not regretting it. And like you say, it's nice to fly all the slots. And eventually later in your career, you kind of understand which one was your best slot ever. And for me, that is definitely my inside center slot. I mean, I was okay on outside center, but not to perform on the world's best. I mean, it doesn't fit with my height and my weight. But I think where I am, or at least where I was, and yeah, where I am right now, I think with the body weight and with the length of my body, I think I'm pretty good at the inside center slot, but because it keeps me balanced, and I'm kind of like the shock absorber in the team, and yeah, and I think throughout the year, throughout the years, I think the inside center slot always fitted me best.
Yeah. All right. Well, if we are thinking about and have been watching the World Cup, the Indoor World Cup in Macau, did it remind you on your own visit there in, I think it was in 2019, right before, I think in November 2019, right before the pandemic started, you were at the same place, right?
Well, we were in Wuhan.
Oh, okay. So not the same place, the same city.
November 2020, November 2019, right before the outbreak of the pandemic, we were in Wuhan because of the World Games season.
Oh, that was season World Games, right?
Yes, where it all started, where the pandemic actually broke out from the.
Yeah. You probably brought it to Europe, I guess. You know?
Well, I hope not. I hope they don't pin it to the team of HayaBusa, but I would not be afraid, or I would not be surprised if somebody eventually took something home, no matter where that was. But I hope they don't pinpoint it to us.
Yeah. It was the same time when 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 HayaBusa was basically almost on the peak level of your performance. That historic signature lineup posted. I think you're still the only forward team in history which posted a 35 plus average. Is that correct? Do I have that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, and that happened at about that time, and it was you, David, and Dennis, of course, and Bob, together with Andy Grautz, your brother, and now Airspeed went almost to the 35 plus average, and Niklas said they may have been able to reach it. You were studying their jumps, their rounds in Macau. Are they on the same level where, is it the historic level where they are right now? Just not by the numbers, just by performance?
Well, they are at a very, very, very high level, that is for sure. I do not remember actually what we had from busts on that world record average. They had only 2 busts throughout their meet in Macau, which is very solid. And by watching the videos, it does look like they could have something more, but maybe they didn't go there to not make mistakes, because then at that edge, it is very, very easy to make mistakes. But there's no doubt that it was a solid performance, and I will not take that, or nobody would take that away from them. But you're talking fine margins when you're going in those averages, and you cannot hold back. And I do agree with what Niklas said, that indoor-outdoor styles are completely different. I think with the lineup that we had, we were very fortunate that we could switch between the 2 styles easily, or it didn't take us that much of an effort. So in that sense, I think we were very lucky that we were able to perform that well indoors and also outdoors, and vice versa. But I can tell you from experience that switching it straight away is not easy. You need time. I remember 2015 in Dubai, World Air Games it was, and then the competition they did in the tunnel when we did a competition in the tunnel and went outdoor skydiving straight after, and we were on a high. I mean, performance in the tunnel was great, so we had a lot of confidence. And I can tell you, the first jump out of that airplane, when you take that confidence and that mentality, it doesn't work well. So yeah, you need some time to adjust, that's for sure. So I definitely can see what he's talking about in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know, all of you agree that the difference between indoor-outdoor environments is becoming more and more significant. Well, we will still continue to do that because, you know, it's a great training tool. Everybody will continue to do that, and most of the teams and competitors in the sport don't try to become world champions, you know. So for everybody else, it's a totally different story, you know. If you are training to specific in one environment, you may lose a little bit in the other one, and vice versa. All right. Well,
but also, I mean, you need to also remember that we were competing against an airspeed outdoor and the high rollers indoor. These were two teams on the highest level you can possibly imagine. And I think, I mean, for us, I think the world meet after Australia going into Bahrain in the World Cup was so difficult because we had so much preparation to first go into Australia, and then I think 2 weeks later we had to go to Bahrain, and then eventually that was the only, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the only indoor competition that we lost in that 8-year time frame, just because it's not so easy to just switch. So yeah, if you're competing against yourself, that's one thing, but if you're competing against the best of the best in their discipline, in their environment, yeah, that's even more harder. And I think that's also a little bit why we kept pushing those averages so hard, because both of the teams were pushing so hard to try to beat us and take over the crown. And yeah, I mean, I think
the high rollers were ready for that.
Yeah, I think we're still very blessed that we eventually, had that period.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the two younger and newer members there. We haven't heard much yet from Ray and from Neil. Ray, you like competition, right? I mean, coming from your other sport, jiu-jitsu, right? It is.
Yeah.
Going into skydiving, you do like competition, obviously, but your team doesn't let you compete. So are you pissed that they don't let you go to four-way competitions?
No, I understand the decision they made, but of course I want to compete. But I think this is the best decision they could make.
And you just have to eat it, or are you begging them on your knees every day? Hey, I would like to, I want to compete, I want to do one of those meets too. What's behind that? I mean, I understand somehow, you know, the psychology of this whole thing and stuff, but then on the other hand, every world champion, every highly experienced competitor will tell you you need competition experience. So what's the reasoning that they don't let you go to a competition? They would probably want to explain that rather. I know Dennis is eager to answer that question. There is something that it's a little controversy, you know, between on one hand you need competition practice, on the other hand, you know, you don't want to throw somebody in the cold water too early.
Yeah, I think skill-wise, it's a bit too early to compete at the CISM. The CISM is an important competition for a team, especially with contracts with the military. So yeah, that's the decision they made to go to the CISM with Dave, because the chances are a lot higher with Dave than with me. So yeah, but soon I will have enough competitions to do. So
we'll do October the World Championship with Ray. So
yeah,
5-6 months ago, like September, October, and we were searching a new member. He was in the rookie category, doing I don't know, 10, 15 average maybe, or not even competed outdoors. And 12 months later, he's competing at the highest level at the World Championship. So I think even that's already impressive. So I think like you could even consider that as too soon, but that will be like his experience, competition experience in October.
Yeah, but imagine, I mean, the World Championship will be the first competition, you know, with Hayabusa for
Second, we
Ray.
have other nationals in September.
Yeah. What was it? Sorry, the
Other nationals we have in September.
okay. Okay, so you have one before at least. Okay. So we all know we've talked about round one at a major competition so many times, you know, whether with airspeed, anybody, you know, who was throwing in the experience. So how do you prepare Ray for round one at a World Championship?
Well, I would say, Kurt, you'd have to also look at it from a. It depends what goal you set. You know, the first World Championships with Ray, we're gonna go in there for the experience of it. Our priority is the CISM this year to have a good result there, and whatever happens with Ray at World Championships happens. It's his experience. He needs to. If you would go into round one and you're one of the favorites for the win, that is a different round one than when you go in there with the mentality of, you know, let's go there for the experience. Obviously, pressure will be high because your name is HayaBusa, but you have to go through it first. And I'd rather give Ray a World Championship like this, where he can get this whole experience, instead of giving a World Championship with pressure on his shoulders, like, hey, man, we're gunning for the win. So
like in 2026, that's what you're aiming at, right?
2026, we're aiming to be competitive.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So that's why this year, you know, you give him a kind of the first experience about this. So what do you do yourself, Ray? How do you prepare yourself for that? I mean, you know, from your previous competition experience in fall with other teams, you know, your previous team, you know that round one brings some unusual feelings, emotions, and to you, no matter what, right? You're familiar with that. Well, what do you do about this? I mean, is it mental training or any training tools or any mental tools that you're trying to use?
Not really, because it's a whole different sport. It's not the same. With skydiving, we were with 4 guys. It's not only me fighting against someone else. So mentally prepare. I still need to figure that out because I haven't really experienced in competition outdoor. So the Belgian nationals will be the first time that I experience how I will be mentally ready for the first round.
So the Belgian nationals will be the first outdoor competition for you?
Yes.
Ah, I didn't know that. So okay, well, I haven't looked it up properly enough then. So you have done indoor competitions, but no outdoor competition yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. That's great.
So that answers a little bit your question about the competition experience that you need as a team. But if you go back to the HayaBusa lineups, we are every time very fortunate that with a lineup change, that you don't have like this dip in performance, or we only had small dips, and then we kept performing. We took Ray for a long-term project, and Ray has I'm gonna say 0 experience. He's 19 years old, doesn't have many jumps, doesn't have many tunnel time, so we need to learn him everything. So to throw him into high-level competition is right from like the first couple of months is a little bit irrelevant to talk about then competition experience, and he needs to figure that out. And also I think that he needs to also feel like, okay, now with what I have, with what I learned now, because it's a big sandwich that he's learning, like a big list of things. He will also say like, okay, I feel like I want to test it now, you know. And I think Belgian nationals and world championships will be that would be like almost a year with the team. I think that is nice. I think anything earlier that we did or would do, I don't think. I mean, there is so much he still needs to learn.
Well, it is so interesting. It wouldn't surprise me a tiny little bit, as serious and reasonably well how you prepare it. I wouldn't be surprised if this will be, you know, the probably the highest level where any competition, you know, four-way competitor started at the very beginning. You know, that would not be a surprise at all to me.
And also, I guess you would know that when you plan a competition, that you're always kind of like, although you say like our biggest goal is the world championships, I think when there's a competition coming up, you always sacrifice some training for meet preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And that would mean if we would do a lot of competitions, then we would always like break up our training, our long-term training for that meet that would come up, like let's say Wind Games or Shamrock or whatever. Then you would prepare him and you would make him start running, even if he cannot walk. So that's why we decided to take some more training and be a little bit more relaxed on the competitions.
So it will be interesting, you know, with I think Tom Martuni from the French team. He must be the same age, almost exactly the same age, right? So they're
months older. I think he is a few months older, and Ray is a few months, of course, a few months younger.
A few months. Okay, well, yeah, a few months is pretty much the same age, I would guess. That's pretty amazing. So both teams are in very.
I think Tom was being prepared to do this already from a very young age. I think
yeah, he's a very experienced forward competitor.
That. So we kind of talked about it, and Ray kind of like got like thrown into the circus because we kind of like picked him, and he had no clue, and now here he is. So instead of just like allowing him to, hey man, keep running, we just like, hey, take it step by step. I mean, would we like to become decent in the next world championship? Of course, but would we like to become back to the level that we had years ago? I would say definitely. So I would rather see an 8-year span of HayaBusa in the upcoming decade than just top 3 in the next world championship.
It will be interesting to see who Chris and Joey are going to pick. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they also picked somebody of the similar age, you know, like Tom and.
It depends how long they would like to have the project alive, I think.
Yeah, that's coming up soon too. So a lot of motion going on there actually. Next year will be an interesting year. This year, well, even this year, you know, every year is an interesting year, no matter what.
The good thing is a big country to choose people from. I mean, the American skydiving community is super, super big. I mean, I think for the country that Belgium is, I mean, you've been a neighbor, you know how small it is. Plus, communication-wise, then we still divide the country in 2. So we only end up with Flemish-speaking people here. So it's not that easy to find very, very useful and also promising people. And I'm super lucky that I have these guys around me because, yeah, I'm an old dog in the lineup, but eventually changing is not so easy. Yeah? It looks easy because we've been dealing about it since a very long time, but it's not that easy to keep finding super good people that eventually fit in a team where you would like to stay in for a long period of time. It's not a weekend team. This is a job. You stay together. We live in the same room. We travel. It's hot, it's cold, it's rainy, it's bad, and still you want to play Uno with each other, if you know what I mean. So I'm very fortunate with being able to hang out with these guys.
Well, then somebody, I don't know, I think it was you, Bob, you and I in a conversation about Belgian sports. I think you or who it was said that Belgium is very good. It's a very athletic country with a lot of talented. It's a small country, but very athletic and competitive in sports. So it seems like it's not really so exceptional in your sport, because Belgium is good with it. Whether it's soccer, a small country, but good golfing, soccer, ball games, whatever it is, competitive in athletics in general. Anyway, so our 30 minutes are up, or 40 minutes, whatever it is. We have less than 1 minute to say goodbye to the HayaBusa fans and everybody, and for me to say thank you, to take the extra time. I'm getting all of you together at the same time is not really that easy, and I'm grateful that you made it happen. Thank you very much for that.
Pleasure.
And the community will appreciate that too. So who's jumping tomorrow, Ray or David?
I'll start.
Okay.
Which way?
Yeah.
When it's the hottest,
Then the old man stops.
then we take break.
So Bob has 4 slots tomorrow again. Any slots which just coming?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest. And very soon we'll see you again somewhere. Time's running quickly, and results will be coming from Brazil.
Thank you.
Bye. Enjoy
Goodbye.
it.
Goodbye.
Bye.